One story I've been wanting to cover for a long time happened in LA in the early 90s. A lot of people believe that this case, known as the Polaroid Phantom or the Ghost Rider, is some of the best proof we have that ghosts exist. I remember watching this when I was a kid and I couldn't believe what I was seeing. It just blew my mind. And this story has been on my to-do list for a long time. This story begins when two men, John Mikowski and John Huckert, started believing that their house was haunted as they started to experience strange phenomena, such as seeing shadow figures moving throughout their house, weird noises, and just things that they couldn't explain. One of them stated that he saw an apparition of an old man just staring at him, and as time went by, these sightings of these apparitions started to increase. So one day they wanted to try to get proof, so they started taking pictures with their Polaroid. And one day they took this photo and they were fascinated with it because it looked so strange. Then a couple days later they took this photo and this one really blew their mind as it looks like your typical ghost. Now as time went by, they took a heck of a lot of pictures, and one day they were asking each other a question while taking a picture. And they saw that this ghost, this entity, replied to them. They weren't even talking to the ghost, they were talking to each other. But they clearly saw in the photo writing as if this entity thought that they were asking it a question. And once they realized that this ghost was actually communicating with them, they just couldn't believe it. Then they asked it what was its name, and it replied, right. Then they asked if it was a good ghost or a bad ghost, and it replied, friend. Now after this case started to get a lot of attention. And just so you guys know, it is possible to fake Polaroid pictures. But I'm not sure how many people knew this at the time in the early 90s. But still, most thought that this had to have been a hoax because there has never been anything like this before, at least not that I'm aware of. Now here's where things get interesting and why I wanted to cover this story. After this case got famous throughout the world, investigators came to this house to observe, and they brought their own Polaroid film thinking that they would catch them in a lie. But this ghostwriting still happened when they themselves took the pictures with a brand new pack of film. This really shocked them, they just couldn't explain it. Even the FBI looked into this and they too couldn't find any proof that this was a hoax. I would also like to add that these anomalies, such as the ghostwriting or the ghostly apparitions, didn't appear all the time. Sometimes it would be quiet for days, but when this happened, according to investigators, it was an amazing thing to witness. According to an article I read, they stated that when Polaroid changed their film, this ghostwriting never happened again, making some wonder if there was something special in the original film that allowed this entity to communicate with us. Or was this just a brilliant hoax, even though nobody was ever able to figure out how they did it? But how could they hoax something if the investigators were the ones opening the new film and taking the pictures themselves? The two Johns never even touched those photos. And that is why a lot of people say that this is one of the best paranormal cases that we have to date.
Tonight, a sightings exclusive.
Never have I come across anything like this before.
A viewer captures eerie images and bizarre messages on Polaroid film. Is it an entity communicating from beyond?
And we asked him his name, and he answered.
Our special investigation reveals startling evidence that baffles photographic experts and psychics alike.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. Tonight, a special extended report on the most important ghost investigation ever conducted on Sightings. For the first time ever, hard evidence has been found that could prove the existence of communication with spirits. This historic case began with a call to our Sightings hotline. A viewer contacted us to say that he had captured ghostly communication on Polaroid instant film. These are the pictures that have astonished researchers and left photographic experts baffled. They contain messages and images that seem to indicate communication with spirits.
At first, the photographs frightened me.
You snap one of these things, and when you start asking questions, it starts answering. I don't know how to explain how bizarre that feels.
Never, ever have I come across anything like this at all before.
From their hillside home in Los Angeles, John Huckert and John Matkowski called us about their photographs. It all started less than a year ago when both men began to sense a strange presence.
I'll be standing there reading something at the desk or something, and I'll feel a hand come up and place it on my shoulder. And of course I turn around to see who it is, and there's nobody there. And then I get sort of a jolt of adrenaline or whatever. It makes me kind of nervous. Another thing I've seen in the last year is I've just seen this sort of free-floating shadow moving across the floor, or the desk, or the wall, or whatever. And when I see it, at first I think it's, well, I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's moving very slow. And then when I try to mask out all the possibilities for what could be causing it, there's nothing causing it. The other thing that I've seen, that apparently I'm the only one who's seen this, is I've seen this old man standing over near the couch. I see him out of the corner of my eye, and it's just there for a hardly tangible instant. It's just there, and then when you look and blink, it's not there anymore.
I felt things like sort of like a sunburn on my arms. It's the only way I can explain it. It was sort of like a tingly, like a sunburn. That's the only thing I can think of, and that's how I usually know if there's some kind of presence here or something.
In an effort to document the shadowy presence, the two men started taking pictures, unsure if anything so intangible could be captured on film.
I took the picture of the bathroom door over by the bathroom and got this really strange-looking thing that was either scary or comical.
The first images they captured had distinct eyes, mouth, and body. But then the pictures took an unexpected turn, and the results shocked everyone. They started receiving answers to specific questions.
We asked him what his name was, just assuming that it's a presence. And we asked him his name, and he answered on the Polaroid. He told us his name was Wright. And we were like, we still didn't believe it. So we just continued asking questions to the middle of the air in the living room, just to nothing. And we'd ask him if he was a good ghost or a bad ghost, just really named questions to begin with. And he answered friend.
Who or what was causing this communication? When contacted, Polaroid was at a loss to explain the phenomenon. So far, more than 100 photos have been taken. Early writing was in English, but more recent writing has been in Latin.
We have asked him if he died in his house, and his answer was in Latin. He answered that, among other things, he did die in his house.
Since the ghostwriting first appeared, several of John's friends have also been able to capture messages on film. We asked them to participate in our investigation. Researchers carefully documented every step of the process. To minimize the possibility of a hoax, 4 cameras were on site. Sealed film, direct from Polaroid, was checked, rechecked, and logged. Marty ELCAN was the first to get an answer.
Are most spirits good spirits or bad spirits?
30 seconds later, this astonishing message appeared.
There are numerous remedial lemures. Do we have a Latin dictionary?
Lemures. In Roman mythology, the night-walking spirits of the dead.
Hello.
The nervous laughter masked the tension and excitement in the room. Since the supposed spirit seemed to want to communicate with Marty, she asked another question.
Right, will you be with them for a long time?
And as the film developed, another answer appeared in Latin.
Marty, what are you thinking right now? How strange this is.
These were shots that were taken today. A few minutes ago they were shot and came out of the Polaroid. I actually watched them eject out of the Polaroid, and now I'm in the process of evaluating them, trying to decide if they're actually authentic or if they've been manipulated. There was a moment there where I thought, oh my God, and I was in the Polaroid, which made it even spookier. I'm in the background of the Polaroid, so I have a picture of me with ghostwriting across it, and I really it made me feel that there could be something in the house.
Many control photographs were taken with no results. And then, suddenly, another message.
Ad literal.
Rick, what did you ask?
I asked what did he think of this in comparison to when he was alive.
What do you think of the technology and what's going on?
No, it's not in this dictionary.
Ad literam. Okay, to the letter, exactly.
You have to establish a chain of evidence. You have to be able to observe the phenomena from the beginning to the end. So we have to load the film. We have to show that it's a sealed pack. We have to show that it's our camera. We have to fire it. We have to control the film as it comes out. We have to establish a chain of evidence. And once we do that, I'll feel much more comfortable.
Experts at the Polaroid Corporation in Waltham, Massachusetts, were at a loss to explain the ghostwriting phenomenon. I spoke with photo expert Howard WORZEL.
We have never encountered it, and we've been selling film for now 50 years to billions of customers, especially film that was even higher sensitivity than the current color film. It could be what they're saying that it is. It's a possibility that somehow there's a field that they are capturing. Physically, I don't know how they could do that.
The two individuals who brought the story to our attention say they didn't manipulate the film. The sightings people who have been there on site and watched what's happened say that they didn't manipulate the film. Does that put your skepticism at rest?
It depends on where the film pack came from that was loaded into the camera. If the film pack came out of a sealed box from Polaroid that had not had the seal broken, then the answer is yes, that would eliminate my skepticism.
That looks like a fresh. We screened a tape of the continuous action sequence inside the house, and Howard WORZEL saw factory-sealed film inserted in the cameras.
They're very accomplished if it's a hoax. If it's real, it's something I've never seen before.
Until next time, this is Paranormal Junkie. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and stay tuned.